Tra-la-la! Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Today we got ourselves a Season 2 review of The Epic Tales of Captain Underpants. It's finally here! So I know Season 2 of Captain Underpants came out a few weeks ago, and I would have gotten to this a lot sooner, so I apologize if anybody's been actually waiting for my review of this, but the month of February has just been really crappy for me. I've been sick the majority of it, so it threw off my entire schedule, but that doesn't matter because we're getting around to reviewing Captain Underpants Season 2. So, what's the main premise? What's it about? I'm glad you asked. I'm gonna tell you. So basically in Season 2 of Captain Underpants, Melvin Sneedley takes over Jerome Horwitz's elementary school with the help of his half-cyborg, older version of himself from the future. Principal Krupp has now been demoted to a vice principal, and then all kinds of Captain Underpants shenanigans occur with some more original villains, plenty of flip-o-ramas, a few more cutaways, and a serious lack of the wedgie woman. If you saw my review of Season 1, you know that kind of irks me. So I really don't have a whole lot to say about Season 2 of Captain Underpants because if you saw my review of Season 1 of the show, you know that I absolutely loved it. It captured the spirit of the book so well, and it was just a very enjoyable 22-minute cartoon show, and it's pretty much the same thing here, so I'm not really going into a detailed review of this one. I'm just going to kind of give you my thoughts on the episodes in general, give some of my highlights, and then just kind of wrap things up a little bit, so let's get into it. So just like Season 1 of this show, there are a lot of original villains this time around. Now, with the teachers and the faculty turning into gross potty humor related villains, there's also a couple of other cool ones, and even a couple other superheroes that are introduced, which was kind of cool, even though they're just glorified parodies of other characters like Wolverine and stuff. And of course, if you saw my review of Season 1, and some things I mentioned a couple minutes ago, there is once again a serious lack of the wicked wedgie woman. Now, I'd be a lot more upset about that, but then I just stopped and thought about it for a minute, and I think I understand why exactly the wedgie woman and other Captain Underpants villains that weren't used in the movie haven't shown up yet. So basically, my theory on that is that, well, so both the movie and the show are produced by DreamWorks, right? So what I'm thinking is DreamWorks told the department for the show that, hey, don't use any of the main villains from the books in case we want to make another movie. So they're probably just keeping the main villains like the wedgie woman and, you know, some other ones just kind of on reserve in case they decide to make another movie. So that means the show has to improvise a lot of their villains. So I think that's the most logical thing, and that's pretty much what I'm going to go off of until somebody says something, or if they just... unless they just do something with it, I don't know, let's just move on. I still want to see the wedgie woman, though. I ain't forgetting about that much. Although, speaking of some things from the books, there is this one episode that deals with George and Harold moving to a new school, which is basically the polar opposite of the current school. You know, in their school, it's, you know, crowded, dirty, all the kids are unintelligent weirdos, and here it's like everything's clean and perfect and pristine, which I remembered that's kind of similar to Book 8 of Captain Underpants, where they go to the alternate universe where everybody is evil, so I'm kind of surprised they didn't just try to do that, but then again, like I said, they probably aren't allowed to adapt books directly in case DreamWorks decide to make another movie, so I was just kind of getting some Book 8 vibes there too, which is, you know, not really a big deal because it just brings me back to some nostalgia of the books. Which is always good, it's part of why I like this show so much. Much like the movie in the first season of the show does rely on a lot of cutaways, you know, kind of like Family Guy, but not nearly as inappropriate, and some more unique art styles which are fun, but it kind of seems like the cutaways are a little bit more prominent in this season than the other. They kind of get in the way a little bit, but not by much, you know, it's still just a kid's show after all, so I'm trying not to look too deeply into this because I'm just trying to watch this to have a good time, which so far I have. And of course, once again, the really creative flip-o-ramas are back. I do unfortunately think some of them are a little repetitive of last season, but some of them are still really cool. By far my favorite is this pizza-themed Flip-O-Rama, because you got this live-action pizza with, like, the characters drawn on it, and then you got this pterodactyl dinosaur arm that's just flipping it literally, which is really cool, because I think it's pretty much the most literal interpretation of the Flip-O-Rama, because it's like, oh no, Captain Underpants is getting punched by the bad guy, here's a pizza to prove it! You know, so the Flip-O-Ramas are fun, the cutaways kind of are a little repetitive, but they're still cool, and we get those fun narrations with the comic book, you know, it's like, so Captain Underpants, see, he had to fight this guy, he's got a big butt, but the butt is his brain this time because it's opposite land. If I had to pick a favorite episode of Season 2, it would have to be the 2-part season finale at the end of the season, which I know, that's kind of cheating, but they go hand in hand with each other. It's pretty fun, kind of creative, it's a bit of a parody of the Hunger Games, but I think it's cool. But as far as the season as a whole goes, I think what I really like the most about this season is the whole storyline about, you know, the future Melvin coming back to the present day to help current Melvin take over the school and fulfill his dreams, which I think it's pretty cool because it kind of gives the show more of its own personal identity, so it kind of stands out more from the movie, the show, and the books, so it kind of feels more like its own thing, which I really like. And pretty much overall, this is still the same satisfying, nostalgic, enjoyable show that Season 1 was. I'm really happy we got a Season 2 of this show. I was getting a little concerned for a little while there that it wasn't going to, and I was gonna write to Netflix and be like, no! Don't you do this to me, Netflix! Don't you do it! So all in all, Captain Underpants Season 2 was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I really hope we get a Season 3, so we'll see. I don't know how DreamWorks' Netflix deal goes, but I really hope there's enough of an audience for this that it keeps going for more seasons, because I am totally ready to see a grown man take off his toupee, show his undies, put on a curtain, and sing Tra-La-La. I need more of that in my life. So, those are my thoughts on Captain Underpants Season 2. If you guys have seen this show, or if you bought a hypno ring and you're hypnotizing people to turn into superheroes, because what else you gonna do with it? Let me know what you down below, and we'll see you on the Tra-La-La side.